Greetings in the name of the Most High, Jah Rastafari. This is Igil Jensen, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, this is Miss Jennifer Fletching. Another edition of We Talk D Ting. People, it happened on a Wednesday because yesterday I had some stuff to do. I'll tell you all about it. Yesterday was the funeral of Mr. Edward Hart. I can't remember the next one, Mr. I think it's Philip. Forgive me, Mr. Edward Hart. I knew him as Mr. Hart, or we know him as Eddie Hart. So it was an emotional day, so I was not in that frame of mind to have a live, but I did put up a message and I told you all I'll be on today. So here I am. So let us start this thing one time, people. And always followed by the pledge of Trinidad and Tobago.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
Yes, it's important that we always remember the pledge on the national anthem. Know the words, teach your children, teach your nieces, nephews. Let us bring back that patriotism. So I continues. So this is something about Kes, our own Kes Devonteller, out there in Lincoln Center, selling out crowds and making us proud.
Center is host to an artist that you wouldn't normally associate with the performing arts complex. The popular soca music star known as Kes, returning for the second of two sold-out shows. I sat down with him as he prepared for the big shows. This is not something you see or hear every day. Soca music blasting from the stage at Jazz at Lincoln Center. But then again, this isn't just any soca star. As the band has been a force on the Caribbean music scene for decades now, with popular hits like Hello racking up millions of views and sales, and a fan base that spans generations.
She's 3 years old. She loves this. What's the song you like?
Cocoa Tea and Hello.
And while the Lincoln Center stage is not the biggest for this world-renowned singer, it's perhaps the most significant.
I sat in front of Lincoln Center this morning, and I was just blown up. Just was taken aback by the journey from there to now, you know.
That journey starting 4 decades ago in Trinidad for Kes, born Keys Diffenthaler. He and his brothers saw Van Halen on television and decided they could start a family band of their own.
As we were kids, you know, we had a garage band when we were young, My brother built a drum kit with buckets, you know, and you know, we would play for the blades of grass and imagine them to be people, and we tried to build a stage.
That backyard stage and makeshift rehearsal sessions leading to worldwide success for him and his brothers. They flirted with different genres over the years, rock, pop, R&B, before finding a home in soca.
When I'm feeling under the weather, you just make me feel sweet. Ice the cocoa tea with the sugar, and together we are complete, darling.
Which genre is more popular with the ladies?
I guess you have to ask the ladies, right?
No, which one do you do best with? Rock, soca,
oh,
or
wow,
R&B?
that's a good question. And you know, I think soca is definitely the girls' magnet. soca for sure.
The band spending the last few months preparing and rehearsing for their headlining performance at Jazz at Lincoln Center, the first soca artist to get that role.
It's stepping into different spaces and places and bringing the music and the joy to the people, you know, rather than somebody just having to, oh, I want to come to Trinidad and enjoy Carnival and all of that. I'm going to bring it to you.
Kez with a history-making performance with an eye to the future.
That's our own Castian again, Trinidad and Tobago citizens making us proud, whether in music, whether in the arts, whether it's in sports, queen shows, international queen shows, academia. We are always there. You could find a Trini there. We like salt. As I said yesterday, was the tribute of the life of Eddie Hart, who would have died a couple of days ago, and he was a staple to the people of Tagarigua and Tonopuna, not just because he was a member of parliament to the People's National Movement, but before that, he would have been known for football and cricket, one of the oldest football league in Trinidad and Tobago. I think it's the Eddie Hart Football League. So a lot of the elder footballers and those now, I'm sure, would know of Eddie Hart. And he would have influenced so many people's lives, again, not only through sports, but through humanitarian efforts and his generosity and his guidance, his counseling. And a lot of people who were there yesterday would have testified to that. You had Dwayne Dunstan, I think that's his name. He's one of the lead tenor players of Massey All Stars that Mr. Hart was a part of. He played pan with them, and the other years I think he was a part of the rhythm section. Mr. Dunstan would have testified to Mr. Eddie Hart, Edward Hart, being like a father to him. We had a footballer, I can't remember his name, a footballer who also came up and spoke about his interaction as a child with Mr. Hart. We had musicians there, so many people. We had Professor Embert was there, who would have spoken also about Mr. Hart. We had politicians were there, of course, the Kenyan politicians were there. We had Mr. Dukaran was also there from COP. And so many persons were there to pay that tribute. It was really a beautiful thing. And I know that it wasn't just because now he's dead, people talking nice things. When he was alive, they would come to him and meet him and tell him the impact that he had on their life. And a couple last year, there was a celebration of and a Thanksgiving for him at the Good Shepherd Anglican Church. And people there too would have spoken to him in person, and he would have known how they felt about him and they paid tribute to him. So he knew very well he was loved. So he was fortunate enough to know that people loved him and what they thought about him before he died. So what happened there yesterday was just a testimony and a continuation of what people felt and feel about him. So I'll just bring you a little excerpt from it that you would see.
The heart of Tacarigua is gone, but we will find a way to live without him.
Eddie Hart's son, Terence, on Tuesday seemed to sum up the general feeling of many of the hundreds who came to the Eddie Hart Savannah for the man's final send-off. a cross-section of society which included from politicians to public figures down to the common man.
Did you know Eddie personally? If he was here, how many of you would he be able to recognize by name? An amazing number, really. The difference with Mr. Hart was that he knew you back.
Many laid testament to Hart's influence in his community, the wider East-West corridor, and nationally through an association which lasted well beyond 5 decades in each instance.
Professor Clement Ember, who holds the highest distinction that this country bestows, Clement Ember, ORTT. He described him as a man of many parts, a rare individual, a human architect, one who built not grand edifices or monuments, but our most precious resource, our people.
I'm not sure it's officially designated, but it is traditionally designated as the Eddie Hart grounds. I don't want, and none of us here wants to see that change.
Just next door to that worksite, Professor Embert's call echoed. Would you like to say what you think might be a tribute to the man posthumously?
Well, you see, when this thing finish here, this whole thing here, a big neon sign, Eddie Hart Stadium, you want to call it that. Yes, Eddie Hart grounds, but Eddie Hart Stadium.
A good tribute to him, to his memory.
Finish this here, this complex here, and let the name remain the Eddie Hart Pavilion.
We don't want to bring the politics into it, and I think it should be continued by the present government to ensure as part of the legacy of Eddie Hart. This ground was given by the Orange Grove Estate, the number of acres, in order to ensure that sporting entities continue. Right? Again, from what I understand, since the government has changed, the contractor has been changed. Right? That contractor was terminated and a new contractor has been put in place. And I think some basic work have started, but again, not at the speed that we would like it to do, from since when it had initially started.
Dr. Edward George Philip Hart, named after 3 kings and belovedly called Eddie, passed away at the age of 89 on January 4th. Jassy Marique, CNC3 News.
The Tanapoona Regional Corporation and the chairman must ensure that that pavilion or complex, whatever it is, that it is built and that it is named in honor of Edward Hart. To do anything else would be sacrilegious. It would be an insult or disrespect to do anything else than that, than naming that pavilion or recreational center, whatever they build in there, not to name it after Dr. Edward Hart. It will be an insult, as I said. It will be sacrilegious that any other name be put on that pavilion when it's finished. And also it must be finished now and not no set of stolen and stolen again. Because if it was something down in Central, for somebody, I talking straight, you know, people don't like to hear straight, or people like it to dance them and dance them. Me, I had no time to dance because I had too straight for some time it would tie up. If it was somebody of Indian descent who would have done well, whether as a member of parliament or in sports or whatever it is, and there was something being built in that constituency or that area, there'll be no bones about it. The Indian community would make sure that it is named after that person. And Mr. Edward Hart straddled both sides of the racial divide in the sense that his mother was East Indian and father was African. So he understands that walk on the 2 sides. And he manned a community that was also like that. We have Cora, El Dorado, majority of people of Indian descent, and then you have the other areas proper in Tanapuna, you know, Green Street, Mango, Bamboo, and all that. So he understood and he understood that dynamic between the both races. And in Tanapuna, we have been able to live, because I was a resident of Tanapuna. In fact, my neighbor Stringberry in Tanapuna, that harmony between the races is there. There's a love. And as his son said, the heart would have been taken out of El Dorado. I hope there is some, but not El Dorado and Tanapuna, Cora, and environs. I hope that there's somebody else there who will be able to carry on like that, will be able to fill, it may not be exactly, but fill those shoes, because he would have left big shoes to fill. He would have, just briefly, he would have told persons, I heard him say that already, that the opposition, not this particular opposition, but the opposition had wanted him to cross the floor, and they offer him sums of money. When he refused, they up the ante. But he's not about, and he was not about that. He was an ethical and moral man. It wasn't about the money and material things. It was about service to the people. And he stayed grounded and he stayed put with the people's national movement. That was the type of individual he was. In fact, he built his home right there in Tagreda, next to the orphanage where I think either he or his mom had grown up there. And he remained right there. He didn't go and get fancy house and thing when he became a member of parliament. He stayed right there. And many a times you'll see people coming to see him. He's sitting right in his veranda, and lines of people come to see him and talk to him, and he never turned away anybody. That was the type of individual Mr. Edward Hart was. And to his family and friends, I send my condolences from the We Talk D Ting family, from Bounce Up Central, from my personal family to their family in this time of grief, and know that we loved Edward Hart, and we may not miss him the way that you do, but just know that he was loved and he was admired by many, including myself. So I continue. While I was there, I met some people. There was one girl in particular, and she told me who she was and who was her mother, but with everything, it didn't really connect properly with me until I reached home. She was my her mother was my mother's best friend. And we were childhood friends when we were growing up. But you know, sometime in years past, we haven't seen people, and then under those circumstances, it didn't really click. So I hope that she's watching the show. She knows of somebody, you know, Miss Teresa's daughter. I can't remember her name. I wish I could get in contact with you, because I didn't think I did it justice when you stopped here and told me I didn't really connect the dots properly. So anybody here know Miss Teresa's daughter from Five Rivers? I think Miss Larissa was Dominican, if I mistake, no St. Lucian, because she still had the little accent, like I seen her now. I wish she could get in contact with me. I also saw the Wilshaw. Listen, the surname Bushy as hell. I think it's the Wilshaws or Wilshires, one out of the two Mr. and Mrs. They're not easy. Also, people who support We Talk D Ting and watch my show, and all the others who I would have met, who would have greeted me, and avid fans of my show, Mr. Andy and his wife, Miss Suan, or Miss Suzanne. They know me her names. Thank them. Mr. Andy Mr. Andy always listens to my show. He's always there. And all the other people who do, thank you all so much for the support. So let me continue. Well, everybody know by now, it's no secret that the People's National Movement lost the THA elections in Tobago on Monday, 50-0, clean sweep. And the rest is history and will be history. I hope those who didn't come out and vote, who refused to vote, or those who came out and vote, that you all are happy with the results now, and let us see how things goes from there. But I saw something that piqued my interest, and it says here that, let me see. It says here that the government is to amend the THA legislation to increase the number of THA secretaries. This was announced by Attorney General John Jeremy at the UNC press conference on Wednesday, January 14th. He said the THA amendment is designed to increase the quorum of the THA secretaries, and the need for the amendment arose because of the outcome of the January 12th THA elections. The EDC confirmed that the TPP won all 15 electoral districts in the elections, and that story was courtesy Tobago Channel 5. So, Juke boy, you might get a blind boy, you might finally get a blind. You might get in as a secretary. But it is ironic that the country didn't have money, and we could see why it didn't have money with all them taxes and all the fine, the tax and everything. And now, as I go later on, I will let you all know that the Minister of Finance looking to go and borrow how much $1 billion. So we don't have money, but they're increasing THS secretaries, and at the same time firing the ordinary man and woman who struggling to make an end meet. They firing them by the thousands. Ain't that something? And just one other thing, I remember when PNM would have under Mr. London would have won 12-0, I think it was. He was so gracious and so understanding the need for service, and everybody's voice must be heard. He would have asked to have I think 2 representatives or 3 or something, so from the other parties, so that the THA would have some opposition in it, that it would not just be PNM alone. But I thought very much that this TPP will want that. They want a clean sweep, and they're getting more secretaries, so they lock down everything. So we'll see how that would go for the people of Tobago. They say the voice of the people is the voice of God, so we will see again how that goes. So let me continue. So this is also carnival time, and there's a village called John Cupid Village. I think it's renamed some flavor or some kind of bacchanal also. And the NCC chairman, I think it was, spoke before the audience there, and this is what would have happened.
26 in its new location. You will notice right off the bat that we are doing things differently this year. For starters, we have moved the village to this space from along the drag to a new home that you will see is even more convenient, more accessible, more spacious than before. Thank you. But we hear you, so we will consider. Here in this new home, whether you are a long-time patron or here this year for the first time, you will also quickly notice that the quality of the village is also increased dramatically. You don't think so? Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored in this 2026 to take the Carnival Village to a greater height. I would like to thank the Honorable Minister of Culture, the Honorable Michelle Benjamin, for our unwavering support in bringing Carnival Village to the people. Special thanks to the teams on the ground in the Carnival Village, the organizing committee, and our support crews.
So that was the NCC chairman getting good, and of course they want to say it's PNM people, but I understand the show started really late. People just get waiting, and when it started, they didn't sing the anthem, and it's somewhere down in the program, then they come back with the anthem. So it was that type of situation, and it's carnival time. And carnival is a time you will get those kind of things. But to just simply say it's PNM people when they're to behave bad, I think that is very unfair and unnecessary. I understand the Minister of Culture, that is Miss Michelle Benjamin. She didn't go up and talk at all. I don't understand that. even if the crowd is behaving like that because of the feeling that they have been waiting too long or whatever reason, you should be skilled enough, whether you're a UNC member, parliament, or minister under UNC government, to go and speak to the people, because at the end of the day, they are the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. Be skilled enough to speak to them. Don't be afraid of whether they go or not. Go and stand up, have balls, and stand up and face the people. But again, you know, yellow belly kind of thing, that is my opinion. So that's what happened down there. And we will see how these things will develop. Skinner Park is coming up just now, so you'll see how that develop. I'm seeing here that this was January 14, 2026 in CNC3 News, an article, EMA sets noise rules for Carnival 2026. It says the Environmental Management Authority has started implementing noise management measures for the 2026 Carnival season under the Noise Pollution Rules, Control Rules 2001, as amended. In a media release, the authority said the measures apply to carnival activities and large-scale events and are aimed at managing noise in residential areas. The EMS said the initiative formed part of the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago's approach to noise pollution and cultural events. The authority said residents have raised concerns over noise generated during Carnival over several years. In response, the EMA has adjusted its noise variation application, monitoring and enforcement processing. The EMA said notices of intent to apply for a noise variations are now available on its website. Members of the public may submit feedback through a public comment form posted on the site, and event promoters are now required to submit event location maps and site plans. The document must show the location of residential areas, site layout, and proposed noise mitigation measures. The EMA said this information will be used in assessment of noise variation application. The authority has issued an event variation information guide and a quick reference guide outlining requirements for noise variation application. The guide addresses event mapping, resident notification, and noise abatement measures, and are available on the EMA website. And it goes on, and it goes on. The final paragraph says, the authority said it will continue collecting complaint data and working with the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service during the Carnival season. Also, promoters can even get placed to hold fit. That we think only one much problem with noise pollution. Because if it ain't having fit, then only work easy. And why it ain't having fit, all the places have fit, all of a sudden this government under this caring prime minister say the residents complaining. So the first place that Jumbie is Brian Lara Stadium, and not as though people was fitting in the stadium and understand was the car park. I asked myself, is it because the fit is largely attended by people of African descent are going there? Who don't want to go there? That's all the business. Think and dirty that's happened down there. Yeah? Because with the residential area around there, they complain about the noise pollution. But bam, right after that, they had an Indian fete right down there in the same place. So they didn't complain about that fete. And I asked, is it because it's Indian people hosted? These things really not so you sit down and put all your head in the sand and cock all your boomsy up in the air and pretend that these things ain't real. So I continue. And so I also lawfulness in this country, and everybody should be. Let me see how that goes. You see, when you put in laws that are oppressive and harsh and doing it without consultation, that way it does get pushed back. If you consult with people and have a dialogue with them and treat them as though they're important and are citizens of this country, you would find people will say, you know what, I'm ready to agree with this or that and that, but I understand. So here, what do we do? That will happen here. But I was saying Dr. Rowley's a tyrant and a dictator. Well, boy, all you go there. Take bamboo now. So let me continue. So our Bunji Garland, he was explaining, I think, why he may not be putting his song receptionist or anything like that. He was being interviewed. So let's listen to this, because Carnival has its ups and it also has its downs, and everybody have their opinion based on their experiences, their knowledge, and their expertise in that area. So listen to this.
And Trinidad and Tobago has been notorious for ever long as a people that don't like themselves. For the not now. Yeah.
In the ecosystem of the culture, right? You know, soca is right, you know, at the center. It's one of the heartbeats of the music, and everybody has a role to play. You know, this year I've been really delving into talking to the DJs because they're the ones responsible for playing and carrying the music. A lot of times, you know, we hear about this soca mafia or we hear about music suppression. But I feel like you're constantly emerging above that, and you're creating pathways for your own music consistently.
Yeah, I listen. You see, there are certain truths that you have to be able to accept. And one of the truths that a lot of people seem to be navigating and dodging for years is that as much as the DJs have a role to play, and the artists have a role to play, the general public have a role to play. Right? And Trinidad and Tobago has been notorious for ever long as a people that don't like themselves. For the not now, yes. When Lord Relate and them was fighting to get music play, singing against radio station. Imagine that time they were singing songs that radio station was suppressing them, and that was AM radio.
Yeah.
And the importation of the Natalie Cole and the Nat King Cole and that kind of thing, right? So that journey has been endless good on. So we always as a people, always quick to rush and give outside the board first before inside.
Absolutely.
Right? That's why it's so easy. That's why it's so easy as a people to disrespect us as a people. We know it by heart. And when you know by heart, you just continue in tradition. So we have to break that tradition.
You know, I find it very interesting that you have now put the onus on the people because they are, in fact, a part of the ecosystem. You know, we have so much to our culture in terms of, you know, the steel pan, calypso, soca. We are seeing it replicated all through the region and all through the world. But the origination sometimes gets lost in translation.
So that was Bunchy Garland giving his perspective on we not loving ourselves. I thought that is where he was speaking about it. Or it may have been, they may have cut that part about his probably entering competition. So this wasn't it, but what he said does make sense. And when you walk it, it does know it. We have been having for a little while now a lot of accidents with hikers. Just a while ago, there's a gentleman who they talk about the army and stuff, talk about, I think, about 2 days or something, so to get him out from where he had fallen, because I think he had broken some bones or something like that. It was a very technical work, and the army was able to do it. So 2 days and 2 nights, or 3 days and 3 nights, they were there trying to get him out of that. And we would have heard of other incidents where people would have fallen and died, some of them, on these hiker trails, because hiking is a big thing now in this country. And there are some people who are daredevils, they like excitement, so they just do zip line thinging and diving off this. And I'm not one of those persons, you know, hiking and out there with those creepy crawlers and think, I think not. Yeah? I want to see the civilization, not the jungle civilization. I want to see the human civilization. So me and hiking, but I admire people who love that kind of outdoor kind of thing. Yeah, happy for them. And then me with my sinus and pollen from trees and all that, it ain't making no sense. I got to work with parroting and fly spray, bug spray, 7 powder, the whole lesson. I go look like a pharmacy. So this is an article here in CNC3 News, their Facebook page. It's a story by Sasha Wilson that deals with some issues with hikers, right? So it says, amidst renewed concerns about hiker safety, the Hiking Association of Trinidad and Tobago, HATT, is calling for long-standing hiking guidelines to be formally recognized and enforced. The appeal follows the death of hiker Jessica Jordan, who became trapped and drowned during a hike on January the 10th. In a press statement, HAT, that's the Organization for Hikers, said the association was first formed in 2008 after a similar incident in the Guanapo River Basin, where 2 hikers died. It was officially launched in 2017 when several recognized hiking clubs collaborated to draft hiking guidelines and codes of practice for hiking as an outdoor adventure activity in Trinidad and Tobago. HAT said it subsequently held several meetings with the Ministry of Tourism and the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards, TTBS, seeking formal recognition. However, the association said this was never granted. According to HAT, it was advised to seek recognition under the Tour Guiding Association, a move it rejected. This we objected to because we are convinced that hiking and tour guiding are quite different activities and should be treated as separate activities. Despite this, HAT drafted 5 core guidelines covering the planning and conduct of hikers, the role and skills of hike leaders, required equipment and supplies, responsibilities of hiker, and risk assessment procedure along with safety tips. The association said it also outlined the differences between tour guiding and hiking in an effort to have hiking recognized as a distinct outdoor activity. However, it added they continue to fall on deaf ears. Had said the lack of recognition by the Ministry of Tourism has rendered the association largely non-functional. This rejection by the ministry resulted in a waning of interest by some of the formative clubs. And in 2025, we were forced to redraft the constitution of HAT, and we are now in a rebuilding phase. Nonetheless, with the help of John Haddad of HATCO, we were able to build a website and pass the guidelines for public access and adherence. The association said it looks forward to the day when hiking is recognized under the Ministry of Tourism and when adherence to the guidelines becomes standard practice. Hyatt said, only then would hiking be a safe and enjoyable activity. The association also extended condolences to the Jordan family and friends. I too, again from this platform, send our condolences to the family. And despite the fact that persons would have been trapped and died in some unfortunate situation and hiking, they still continue to hike. So that is where I do agree with the Hiking Association that until they are recognized and they put all the guidelines and all that, and people are there to it will be safe. Apparently, people are not interested in it not being safe. They like probably the danger and the excitement. I don't know. But I hope that the Hikers Association will be able to get what they need to make sure that hikers in Trinidad and Tobago are safe when hiking and the hiking clubs, that they would be able to have guidelines also for their hikers and have trained persons leading people into these hikes. Well, you all know our Minister of Finance, who I think is not up to that task, maybe to do some accounting in a store or a private company or something, but definitely not as the Minister of Finance. And you need to know your limitations, and some people apparently don't. And they like the glitter. They like the glitter and the lights. And then they get put in a position where they do not have the competence to really do the job the right way. So, Member of Parliament Participant North Sentence West, at the time he was Minister of Energy and also Prime Minister, he would have outlined that the UNC, based on the manifesto, which I think they would have adopted now as government policy, that based on that and all the economic, whatever they have in it, plans or whatever, this will take us straight to the IMF and a devaluation of the TT dollar. He said those words. And we're looking at the things happening now, and we are wondering, because he has been on point, He said that they were going to fire CPEP, then they will go URP and they will fire us. He said that and it did happen. He spoke about the energy sector, and if they don't change things, that companies would leave and the effect it will have on us. We have seen that also happen. And now we've seen where the tax in this country into prosperity, when they said, when Kamala predecessor, the most beloved what? I can't even think the word right now, the most loved apparently by his supporters, that the PNM and Dr. Rowley, this wicked, evil government, the PNM and Bert and thing, wicked, they're trying to tax the citizens and this country into prosperity, and she will lower the taxes, lower everything. Well, she come in, Papa, and she raised everything 2 and 3 times. When the PNM was trying to keep everything down and give you grace period to do this and that, tax them 2 and 3 times, 100% on everything. They're trying to tax you into prosperity now. And we're seeing where so much people laid off and they have to pay this 10% increase in salaries. Teachers apparently not getting the increase in the salary for the 5%. It was supposed to be this month. Public officers get some part arrears on the 10%. You know how much is the whole yet, but they get part of something you don't know where's the whole of. And then it have others still to get the arrears also. So the place want money. And we ain't getting no oil deal and no gas deal and nothing. Right now, Exxon Mobil get the whatever permission, whatever, to go out and do deep water to see if we get gas out there and thing. Very good. That ain't gonna materialize until about 7 to 10 years. So we will be waiting on that. And it has to be enough that they find that they'll be able to monetize and not waste the time. Again, all them things could take 7 to 10 years. So we ain't getting nothing there. This government did link up with, we know the story again with the American government, because they get license of fact and they facilitated in whatever way what happened with Venezuela, I don't know. But there's a radar in Tobago and there's still questions what the radar is there for. We heard it was there and that helped them to find the boat with all the drugs in Caroni Swamp. And then we heard a professional in that, an expert in the area, something Dindial, Commander Dindial, I think it was, said that radar had nothing to do with no finding no drugs, no way. That is military thing in the air, probably to detect plane or whatever the hell it is. And then we hear there was building road in Tobago to fix road. Now we hear and it have a whole military base there and whatever. So the point I'm making is this: everything that this government like they put on the fire for, like it ain't coming to pass. And the worst thing is the one people thing. Yeah, I long for people thing, you know? So the point is, this government look like it's strapped for cash because the recurring expenditure, like they don't have money for that. So now we're seeing, and as I said, MP Shiotiong, who was Prime Minister at the time and Minister of Energy at the time, was spoken about in the UNC manifesto, is a clear sign that IMF, here we come, and a devaluation of the dollar. So this government here, this was in the, or is in the Daily Express today. Government to borrow up to US $1 billion on international market. The government plans to borrow up to US $1 billion from international investors. This money will be used for general development projects and to repay previous loans. The government the money is being raised through the international capital market, which is where governments and companies sell their bonds or notes to large investors around the world. Under the External Loan Tax and Exchange Control Exemption Order 2026, signed by Minister of Finance Vinchana Tanku on Monday, payments of principal, interest, and other debt charges on the notes will be exempt from all taxes and exchange control. The notes will be offered for sale exclusively to qualified institutional buyers in the United States under Rule 144A of the U.S. Security Act, the U.S. Securities Act, and to buyers outside the U.S. under Regulation S. The government has appointed J.P. Morgan Securities, LLC, and Bank of America Securities, Inc., as joint lead managers / arrangers to facilitate the issuance. My thing is this. The fastest way to get downgraded by rating agencies, and we already downgraded by Standard and Poor's, I think it is. So I think we're waiting on Moody's and then the IMF. It's to borrow money to pay off loans. Because what happened now, you get yourself in even more problems. Because you're paying off the loans that you borrow on with money that you have. You're borrowing to pay off the loan. And then the interest now is going to be higher on the loan you're borrowing because remember, you're not making money with the loan you're going to borrow now. That is to just pay off loans. So the interest rate in which you're borrowing that money will be higher. And then when you can't pay that and you go back now somewhere else to borrow money again where it's higher, you end up in a situation where you will get downgraded and then IMF got to come in and cut all social programs, structural adjustment, ram straight up with PFM, right? So that is where this government will come in who had all the plans and they know everything. Fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, so shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, fool me 3 times, you feel as an ass now, right? So let me continue. So I'm saying here that the complaints continue to come in concerning these traffic taxes. Just now people will park up the car home and buy a little bicycle and start to ride to walk and thing, when all of them laughing when kids Scotland talk about riding bicycle. All they laugh at him. He may not have said it in the best way or whatever. Or there a problem now that might happen because a man who have a old car, who every minute something to fix on that. He had the money to fix it, and if he come out on the road with that, he get a ticket for that. Might have to pack up that car and find alternative transport. And then now, that is money coming out of the pocket where he may not have because the using the vehicle was cutting out on transport, probably to drop the child to school or the wife to work or he to work, whatever the case may be, or to pull ball or to drive taxi. Now, all car go to come off the road and all they go see on the road just now is just new car. Wait to go see people will park up the car, they will pass and see garage have 5 and 6 car and people walking. Wait to go see. Because it get ridiculous now. I ain't no driver and I hear any people talking and that song is frustrating. So listen to this man.
Well, TikTok, morning. Well, I see the government come up with a new thing now that trucks park or any vehicle park on the road, it will be charged. So I say people with apartments and who live in an apartment, who don't have their own place to park their vehicle. What going on? They going to get charged for that too? Or the tenant going, or the landlord going to get charged for that? Because some people living in apartments and have to park at the side of the road. Businesses have places to offload and park up to go in and get goods and they have no place for parking for customers. So what going on? They're charging because they're charging the business owner for people parking on the side of the road to come in the business. How this working? Or I think just now best you go back to bike, riding bike on the road. So we have no cars. That's how I can see this thing working. They could go in a place with their bike. They can't go in a place with their car. So I don't know what they're trying to say, or what they're doing, what they're really doing. Or if not, they're charging them $5,000. Some of them are money working for $5,000 for the month. I had to pay ticket for $5,000. That makes sense. Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense, people. The government, I don't know, but they're just coming on hard on drivers. I thought criminals doing real bad thing out there and they ain't saying that more that way. Why the working class man had to go through this? Why? And then they want to suspend your license for 3 years. If that's how a man living to mind his family, we gonna do if he gets his license suspended? What he going to do now? You have to go and cut grass at the side of the road? That makes sense, boy.
Well, such is life under this caring UNC government. Listen to Rambers, I really get an appetite for his videos. He's on point. to listen to him.
Think about something with me. This is something that most of those paid bloggers who are getting paid to come on social media and spread propaganda won't ever consider because they are taking money below the scenes to spread a certain agenda. I am sure you know of at least one person in your life who has a passport but has never flown anywhere. Have it in case they ever got the opportunity to fly. But until then, it's just another form of identification. Keeping that logic in mind, do you know that there are persons out there who would have gone out and gotten their driver's permit when they came of age, because that is what adults do, but has never driven a vehicle because they have no access to a vehicle, they don't own a vehicle, they can't afford one. So, to those persons, their driver's license is just identification. So when I hear social media people talking and saying, if your license expired, and you are renewing it 6 months down the road, that means you were driving without a license for 6 months. It forces me to stop and take pause so I can closely observe how the small money that you all are getting on the back end has now enabled you all to be pretending to not understand the nuance and the minutiae that goes on in day-to-day lives. Just like many of you all were struggling, which is why the UNC could have come and given us small money to talk shit, there are other persons out there right now who are struggling. And when you are struggling, especially financially, unimportant things tend to get cut. And for some persons, a driver's license that they're not using to actually drive is just identification. Especially if you have an ID card or a passport, you don't need a driver's license to identify anything. That tends to get cut. So coming out to punish somebody because their circumstances has now changed 6 months down the road, a year down the road, 2 years down the road, and they're ready for your license, I think it's unfair. Justice can never be one size fits all. If you think about it logically, the ones who were running hot for a year, 2 years, 3 years, without renewing their license, do you think raising the fines now is going to get them to come in when they're already running hot? Clearly, they didn't want to spend any money before. They go spend more now. This particular punishment is just one more way the law punishes those who genuinely fall through the cracks while ignoring or can't get to the ones who deliberately walk through the cracks. There are ways to figure out if somebody was driving all this time without a license rather than passing a blanket increase in fines to punish everybody. You all remember when Rohan was in government and he was the oppressor? Many of you all probably forgot this, but back in 2020, to kind of clear up the backlog of unpaid tickets, the government extended an olive branch to persons where if you have an outstanding ticket up to a certain date, you could have paid half the fine. So if you was owing 1,000, pay 5. If you was owing 6, you pay 3. And remember, back then, the fines weren't double. They were far less than they are today. This is how you get persons to come forward. Many persons still wouldn't have came forward, but at least you gave them the opportunity to come forward with a lesser punishment versus taking the alternative approach of increasing the fines and hoping that the increase in fines will scare the ones who are already running hot and playing cat and mouse with the police or the nation's roadways to come forward. But then again, this isn't about getting persons to come forward. This is about generating revenue because you all made promises on the campaign trail that you now realize you have no money to fulfill. So the ingenious plan was, you all looked at the data and realized that, let's say 30% never paid a traffic ticket, but they don't care about the law. They are the ones who always running hot. So what they're going to do is take a 30% and pass those fines on to the ones who are actually going to pay the ticket. And that's why all the fines go up. You catch less people, but those less people pay more. It's a sickening system we're living in.
Right, that was Rambo's take on it. And coming back to the government want money, in my opinion, to pay, as Rambo said, all the promises they made are to get money. I want to know or hear from the religious bodies in this country, because I'm seeing something here that NLC be to include Sunday game draws. I want to know if the religious community in this country, if they're comfortable with gambling on a Sunday, say gambling from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Did they always say to worship? It a gambling on Sunday too? I want to hear the religious organization saying, where Father Bishop Gordon saying, where them from the religious group where all of them come together now, where it has 7 Day and it have Baptists and it have everybody, the religious organization. I want to hear what they're saying. I want to know if they're comfortable with gambling 7 days a week. If Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and a PNM government had suggested gambling on a Sunday, all of would be out here. Let me tell you something. All have something to tell God, you know. Wherever God only serve, all have something to tell God. All have something to tell the children of this country and to tell the young people of this country with all the double standards. That is my opinion. How you could have gambling on a Sunday? Now you are the people who play little thing home. I talking about national gambling. So it's anyhow they might bring back prostitution. No, not bring back. They might say prostitution legal and then tax the prostitute and them and send the man for the prostitute and them. They might say that. Because I don't want to make money by any means necessary. Papa. Emma continues. Listen to our next rambles, Papa.
They almost caught me. Almost, but almost doesn't count. Pay attention to the guy on the left-hand side flagging me down at the Piaco International Airport.
In the back brake or brake light? Alright, thanks.
Bro was behind me on the way to the airport and saw my bulb blow on his side when I pulled off. Let me give him a little warning. Good Samaritan. So you know one time on the way down the road, extra vigilant, ducking all them roadblock on them, got down the road, bought a new bulb, put it in. But what's the irony in this? While I was parked up in the parts place, I said to myself, let me take a picture of the bulb because I knew I was going to make the video. As I hit snap, I saw a police jeep pass. Lo and behold, it was only one passing here on St. Lucian. When I checked the group, lo and behold, big roadblock just lower down the road by the turning point. He was going to join them. He came from this direction and the others came from by the Bagatelle side coming up to the block the 2 points of exit from St. Lucian Road. And just like that, I could have left the airport, heading home, not knowing my back ball blew, not knowing when it blew, and just driving on St. Lucian Road and driving to a roadblock, and just so, $2,000. The punishment does not fit the crime. I don't care how you try to spin it. Imagine somebody's working for $20 an hour, and let's say you are working 8 hours a day. That's about $160 per day. You have to work about 13 days out of your life. Your entire month, 13 days, every cent you work for that day, have to go towards the state. For a $20 bulb that you had no way of knowing blue. You all are wrong for this. This is extortion. The punishment doesn't fit the crime. $2,000 for that is wrong. Let me show you all how tricky vehicles can be. Right now, my left brake light is blown. They may be saying to yourself, Rambles, where the blown bulb? We seeing 4 lights lighting. That's the trick in it. If I were to come outside and walk around my vehicle with all my lights on, I will leave home thinking that I have no blown bulbs. But the brake light is a dual filament bulb. A low beam and a high beam in other words. So it's only when you step on the brake, you get to realize, wait now, where the left disappear to? No left light. Poof, it gone. And most vehicles will trick you just like that. You turn everything on, you walk around, yeah man, I'm good to go. And when you're reaching a roadblock, you realize you're not good to go. Because you slam into a pothole 50 feet up the road. The filament in the bulb shakes, shatters. You have no bulb. And you step into the roadblock, and just like that, $2,000 out of your salary gone. You're a wicked, dirty man. You're extorting the public. You're worse than Rohan, and I will beat this like a drum till the end of time. I know some will be asking, Ramos, what do you mean a pothole? A pothole can blow a bulb? Yes, it can blow a bulb. Get up with the times of knowledge. Inside the bulb, you have some kind of filament. This little spring-looking thing there. You see how fragile it's looking? Yes, it's very fragile. So it's not my opinion. It's a scientific and provable fact that potholes can blow your bulb. So you could have a perfectly working bulb and then turn a corner and hit a pothole and turn the next corner and meet a police, $2,000.
Yeah, I'm not a driver, so I empathize with drivers. I'm all for following the law, you know. I'm a law-abiding citizen, but the situation Rambo's outlined there, you don't have to be lawless to end up getting tickets, you know. It can be very, very lawful. And that's what people are trying to say. People want to say, oh, well, they want to pay because they want to be lawless. No. It's how law-abiding citizens will get caught up in that for the simple reason that you know talking about, because they roll out this thing proper. I just want to say this. It has some people, all who yapping and putting up all kind of things, some of them, in favor of the political leader of the PNM. Just to, wait I say a few minutes, but I say not later, earlier, they did all for Stuart Young, and it was telling us straight, Stuart Young is the one to really take the party, not Penny. They were saying that. I was telling Ms. Beckles, I might be one of the most realest persons that I'd have talking to you, because I'm telling you straight. Some of them wrong, yeah? that is supporting Stuart Young and saying that he's the better person. And today, them cussing people who standing their ground and supporting Stuart Young. Them is people to watch Miss Beckers, but probably it's too delusional that even if you ain't even taking it on, you're telling yourself, well, they really like you and all them kind of thing. You better watch who wrong here. All unfair game does play over, you know. So them want to putting up thing. And what kind of thing? Them the supporting Stuart Young just a few months ago, a few days ago, a few weeks ago, just last year. Dangerous, but some human beings is to stay far from. They have no loyalties, what they could get, and if they can't get it, they will start to eat up and bumble up themselves. I want to ask you, Sir Robert Lee Hunt. You come here reading your whole article. Dr. Rowley living rent-free in your head? Or is it that you like mature politicians? You kind of had a tendency or something. You're not living your true authentic life, or where everything you call him Dr. Rowley not in the politics. And he's a member of the PNM, so he can afford to talk on anything he wants, but he's not in the cut and trusts of the PNM and the politics, where everything you have to call Dr. Rowley name for. So all the political leaders so unremarkable that all they have nothing to say about she. I don't hear all they talking about she. And she only has to talk about because she's the one who leading the People's National Movement. Dr. Rowley not leading. And if Dr. Rowley has so much influence and you know they, well, what a pick she for? And fighting on people who saying she weak. Get Dr. Rowley a blasted break now. If you on the alternative side of things, go live your life. Leave Dr. Rowley alone because I know he is so everything on Dr. Rowley, Dr. Rowley, ass. Take responsibility for some of the things all they do, all they come out general council meeting and start to behave a particular way. What was all your part and to play in what happened? Whether Monday or August the 28th. All you only putting blame on everybody else, put some blame on all the blasted self. Everything Dr. Rowley, my backside. When he didn't make you minister, bring you back from Ghana and make you minister of public utilities, they didn't have a problem. But as they say, it is alleged as you can't get your way. You know, if you have short man syndrome, you just start to eat up and bubble up and carry on and walk out and throw down like a blasted tantrum train child or leave blasted Dr. Rowley alone now. He have a wife and he's very happy. Every blasted thing, Dr. Rowley, doctor, take some blasted blame for all yourself. All of us going around, it is alleged. All of us going around in communities and telling people to vote for PNM. Take responsibility for that. I never say you were. I say it is alleged. People was going around and talking now. Take some responsibility also for that. You can put everything on Dr. Rowley. He was a magician. Because under COVID-19, all of them happy he was in charge because he kept we alive and he kept public officers working and getting a salary every month, although he didn't have no work. He wasn't coming out of work. His only emergency workers were out there. CPEP workers was getting the pay, URP workers, reforestation, public officers, and we was home. He was getting hampers. Yeah, everybody may not have got more hampers, was sharing with everything. People was getting rent pay, all that. Or they didn't find nothing wrong with him then. When he come in 2015 and meet a recession, he didn't go to the IMF. He banned me belly. He said, tighten me belly, and we tighten. And he pay off the 14% increase in salary that come up beside the recession and settle knowing that they have no money. He could have come in and say he ain't paying it. He paid that. All they didn't find is a problem with him now because some of them must and get what they wanted. Or they have a problem now with Dr. Rowley. Or because he say he's a proud black man. That way hot all you, that he stand firm and stand in the truth. Some of them need to stand on all the blasted truth and leave the man alone. Every blasted thing, doctor, every time all they call the man name, in them kind of negative way, his blessings will increase and all your blessings will decrease. Let me continue, sir. So I see somebody write this here. And let me see if I could read it quickly. I didn't write it and I hope it opened. It was in the Express. It was an editorial And it says here, is our Prime Minister a real lawyer? This was January the 12th, 2026. Our Prime Minister has called our citizens lawless and has shown her determination to make us obey. Now, for a senior counsel, I expect that she knows the law to be able to utter such a remark. With such knowledge of the law, does she know that killing people violently without evidence is against the law? Or that kidnapping a head of a sovereign state is against international law? Or that invading and stealing anyone's country's resources is against the law? I hope she has included herself in the lawless remark, because I would never want someone who flip-flops with the law to represent me in any matter. S. Maharaj, correct. I want to tell S. Maharaj, you have to remember, she gave herself silk. The inner bar didn't give her that. And Mr. Israel Khan SC, the ST, Mr. Israel Khan said, a paraphrasing it, that she and nobody recognize she and respect she in the inner bar and give back she silk. He said he will support she, but nobody respect she in the inner bar and whatever. So she respected lawyer in this country. She get she sells silk and she get the former Attorney General Anna Ramlogan silk. So Dine says something, them didn't earn it. Anyway, let me continue. So somebody's asking, it wasn't me. And then I see this next one. I find he does look like something the cat dragging. Like just me. People could find all kind of thing about me too. That is all right, I think. But I find he does look like the cat pour me one, like the cat dragging, and they watch it and say, where's that? Pussy, what are you bringing here? Look, carry that blast, the thing back outside there. That way he does look like to me. So he is saying that, and who is he here talking about? Our esteemed Attorney General. And this is what he is saying. Just a minute, let me find it. Give me 1 minute. Oh God, what the damn thing gone? Like the cat come and drag it. Hey! Wait. Let me get it. He has said something to the effect in a press. Wait, man, just now. Of all I listen to it here, I forget it's not an article, Lord Father. What do you think? Director and put it up like. Let me see. Okay. So he had a press conference today. Like that. Don't forget to. Excuse me. Let me see if she put it up here instead. No. This one was missing. So I just had a talking. They had a press conference today. And main line, they say how we looking like a deer get caught in the headlines. If it's why I write and open up White Channel kind of thing, so I was asking him about the blowing up of the boats and all kind of things, something the effect if he think that is legal or whatever. And the man answers something to the effect that he get advice from me, from way that's saying that it was within international law. The blowing up of them boats and things. I said, well, what the hell are you here? I'm vexed all I ain't get to see it, boy. But these things happen. So let me see if I find it quick and just think what he said. But I ain't want to say what he is saying. Anyway, it's basically that, right? That America blowing up the ship and thing in the waters there, he said that by international law that's legal. Something like that. I said, what the hell are you here? I wonder if they have to ask if he's a real lawyer too. I don't find that making sense. So I went and looked at something here, and it says here, this was coming from the New York Times, Al Jazeera News, right? It's an article. It says here, excuse me, U.S. faces war crime allegations for disguising aircraft in drug boat attack. The New York Times said the US allegedly painted its military aircraft like a civilian plane to conduct a September strike. This was the 13th of January 2026. It goes on to say, the United States military allegedly disguised one of its aircraft as a civilian plane to attack a suspected drug smuggling boat coming from Venezuela, according to a report in the New York Times. In the article published late on Monday, the newspaper noted that the incident raises questions about the possible commission of a war crime. It says that experts say US boat strike are illegal killings, and then can they be stopped? US lawmakers urge release of video of double tap boat strike in the Caribbean. And does US military spending bill place any constraint on Trump and whatever? Eh? So one of the things I want to ask our esteemed AG, if you say blowing up the boats on them, based on international law that you would have gotten advice on, is legal, what about the double tap, as they call it? So they blew up the boat once, and there were survivors who wasn't armed, who survived that attack. They blow it up again and kill the survivors, so that's legal too. So when the people don't present an alleged threat, it's still to still blow them up? Okay. So there was no immediate reaction from the White House following the publication of the report. The article focused on the first known attack on the boat bombing campaign President Donald Trump launched on September the 2nd in the Southern Caribbean Sea. At the time, Trump announced in his platform Truth Social that the initial attack killed 11 people whom he accused of being narco-terrorists. But the New York Times report suggests the plane used in a military operation was painted to look like a civilian vessel with its missiles tucked away in the fuselage instead of being carried visibly under its wings. Such an act of disguise could be considered a war crime under the laws generating or the laws governing armed conflict, the article said. The newspaper quoted a retired Deputy Judge Advocate General for the U.S. Air Force, Major General Stephen Lepper, as saying the concealment of military insignia and weaponry could constitute an act of perfidy, a deceptive tactic forbidden under international law. Did our esteemed Attorney General know of this? I'm just asking. Shielding your identity is an element of perfidy, Lepper told the Times. If the aircraft flying above is not identifiable as a combatant aircraft, it should not be engaged in combatant activity. The report did not say who ordered the military plane to be disguised, but three sources told the New York Times that it was painted in the usual military gray and lacked military markings. Still, its transporter was transmitted a military tail number. The report, if true, offers new details that complicate the narrative around the Trump administration boat bombing campaign and the inaugural September 2nd strike. The Trump administration has repeatedly urged or argued that attacking the boats is necessary to prevent illicit drugs from reaching U.S. shores from South America. In a memo to Congress, Trump also indicated that he considered the U.S. to be a non-international armed conflict. He considered the U.S. to be in a non-international armed conflict with drug cartels whom he described as unlawful combatants. However, there is no legal basis for such a determination, and drug trafficking is considered a criminal offense, not equivalent to an armed attack. Human rights experts, including at the United Nations, have also characterized the attacks as an act of extrajudicial killings and a violation of international law. The same law that we Attorney General say he get expert advice that no international law was broken. I'm paraphrasing. In describing the September the 2nd attack, Trump accused the targets of being members of the Tren de Aragua criminal organization operating under the control of Venezuelan then President Nicolas Maduro, who has since been, that charge has been cleared that he's not the leader, no, some criminal gang with some bacchanals. Look now. A brief 29-second video accompanied Trump's announcement of the attack. showing a boat engulfed in a single blast. But in December, the Washington Post reported that the attack had instead been a double attack, with U.S. Navy Admiral Frank Bradley allegedly authorizing a second missile blow to kill 2 previously unreported survivors. That reporting likewise raised concerns that a war crime had taken place, as it is considered illegal to attack shipwrecked adversaries, even in a wartime context. The news report from the New York Times raised further questions about that double tap strike, including whether the survivors might have saved themselves had the aeroplane military markings been visible. The source of the Times told the told the Times that the aircraft swooped in low enough for the people on board the boat to see it. 2 survivors of the initial attack later appeared to wave at the disguised aircraft while clinging to wreckage. The Times reported the second strike then killed them. The newspaper contrasts their reaction to those of survivors in a latter attack on October 16. The initial blast in that October attack likewise left 2 survivors, but those survivors swam away after the first strike hit. They were later retrieved from the water and repatriated to their home countries, Colombia, Ecuador. What the hell are you hearing here? Just one little more, Papa, because we, Attorney General, say, I'm paraphrasing, that those bombing up at the boat and thing by international law based on the advice he gets, that is within international law to do that. Members of Congress have been shown Members of Congress have been shown an extended video of the September 2nd attack, and the Times reported that questions about perfidy, I hope that's how I pronounce it, P-R-F-I-D-Y, I pronounce it how it's spelled it, were privately raised during closed-door briefings with military leaders. U.S. military manuals about the law of war discuss perfidy at length, saying it includes when a combatant feigns civilian status so the adversary neglects to take precautions which are otherwise necessary, said the Times. The newspaper, however, pointed out that the U.S. military had switched to clearly marked military aircraft, including MQ-9 Reaper drones, to conduct subsequent boat strikes after September the 2nd attack. It also quoted Trump's administration officials as defending the military action as well within the U.S. government's legal authority. The Trump administration has denied taking any illegal action at any point in the boat bombing campaign. At least 35 strikes have been conducted in the Caribbean and Eastern Pacific Ocean since September the 2nd, with as many as 114 people killed and 1 presumed dead. Not me who say, that was in the Times, Papa. Hey, only listen to this one. Remember I was saying, they're talking about amending the Retrenchment and Benefit Act, where fathers get paternity leave and including the maternity leave and all them things. Not wrong with that. And I say to myself, my opinion is a distraction because something they're coming with. This is what I feel they're coming or they came with. All I know, the SOE will be up, I think, January the 31st. And I think constitutionally they can't go back now and get another extension or something to that effect, right? So it coming to end January 31st. So this is what, like, they're planning. This was in the, or is in the news today. Government to expand crime fighting powers when Parliament resumes. The government is pressing ahead with legislation aimed at tightening its grip on violent crime, citing sharp reduction in homicides and wounding following recent security measures, as Parliament prepares to address a legislative agenda in the coming weeks. Attorney General John Jeremy, speaking at a UNC media briefing on January 14 on the parliamentary schedule, said the administration intends to advance a special zone of operation bill designed to target crime hotspots without resorting to a national or nationwide state of emergency. He said the policy builds on lessons learned during the SOE when authorities disrupted communication channel between incarcerated gang leaders and criminal networks operating outside prison walls. That disruption yielded tangible benefits, he said, pointing to the decline in murders, shooting, and violent crimes. The new legislation, he added, would allow the state to lock in those advantages through focused time-bound security operations. Jeremy said Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar stressed the proposed zones will be subject to judicial oversight, clear procedures, and time limits, ensuring proportionality between the threat faced and the state response. He also discussed an amendment to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act following public backlash over increased fines and penalties. The government, he said, has listened to the voices raised in the national community and now plans to introduce a system of mandatory warnings for certain traffic offences while maintaining its commitment to resorting discipline and order on the nation roads. You see what I tell you? In my opinion, them come like a man who does beat a man. A woman does beat a man, or any situation where there's a relationship where abuse is happening. They abuse the woman, beat she up, bust up, she kick up, she will kick, go hospital, ribs broken, all that. And then she come back home, and for a week or 2 weeks, they treating she like she's a queen. You're bathing she, you're bringing flowers and things with her, and telling she, well, it's she who caused that, it wasn't she that cooked the food good, and why she did do that, and she made the thing, but you know, I'm not like that, and with. And soon some people in that situation start to believe that them is the one who did the wrong thing, and they take the abuse easy, and the person come and bring something nice to them, whatever it is. This is how this government operating to me. So they come down with the heavy fines. You think they don't know people that complain? Well, they know they put people on the breadline when they fire 10,500 CPAP workers, and they fire European workers, and they fire reforestation workers, and they fire contracted workers. You think they didn't know the outcome of that? So people on the breadline, they can't pay the rent, they can't buy food, they can't do this, whatever it is. And now you bring these fines and these traffic fines, where people they little car to make the little money or to drop their children or their family to school, and they don't have a new car, such whatever. They bring these heavy fines, 100% increase. You think you didn't know people would have started to get on, and now you want to play the kind-hearted person. All right, you know what I will do? Here, what I will do. I will make it a little thing, but it's mandatory. So don't mind my address to you, the wickedness. I come and get a little thing. And them, to me, when they give you something, when the UNC give you something, it's because they have a distraction for something coming. That is my opinion. So the retrenchment, benefit that, they're coming now to bring SOE, but only in certain areas. And they coming now, they're dropping the mandatory thing and whatever to help whatever, but they ain't drop the fines, They ain't drop the prices of the fines, Some mandatory thing, whatever it is. All that is to ease while they do something else underneath. All the good years, Stockholm Syndrome. So let me continue the article. Our result has not weakened, he said, but it will be implemented with the level of humanity this government is known for. So when only that first bring it out, only didn't have humanity then. Or they only get humanity because people and all their supporters start to complain, so they get humanity then. When you're making laws that will affect people, like you're supposed to have some humanity in it. You're supposed to make laws that will not disenfranchise people. Or they don't have humanity when all they sit down to bring them laws, or they're taxing this country into prosperity. After all, they said Dr. Rowley and the PNM wicked and bad for the merit system. Or they said Dr. Rowley wicked and bad because he property tax, as if when you pay, people were proud and happy to pay the property tax because it means that they own the house, they own the property, and they wanted to be able to tell the corporation, I pay my taxes, so you see that canal in front, they only come and clean it. You see that tree hanging across, they come and cut it. You see my street light, come and fix it. You see this road here, get that paved. You see that bridge here, they come and fix it. That way they was paying the property tax so that the corporation would have get money. They didn't have to wait on central government. They could have gone to the corporation, gone to the chairman, gone to the councillor to say, hey, or they collected, look my receipt here. I pay my property tax, come and clean in front of the place. That was empowering people. Or they say, or they make people believe that it's harsh and oppressive, but or they bring taxes traffic fines. We could make people have to leave their car home. We could make people have property. The coconut man get $19,000. He said that money to pay back, he working just to pay police now. And if he pay that interest other than that, all of them not to be humane then, you think a PNM government would ever do that? But again, it's like Stockholm Syndrome. Treat the people bad, abuse them, mentally, physically, emotionally, and then come and drop a little tricklet in the hand and make them feel good. Like you're walking in desert and somebody have water and they gain. They say, walk, walk. And when they see that kid drop down and they can't move, they come and get a little step so. Open them out, just a little trip. And you say, all right, and they say, oh God, they still give me water. Let me just continue this here. Meanwhile, lawmakers will also consider amendment to the Tobago House of Assembly Act following the Tobago People's Party recent victory in the THA. The proposed amendment will increase, I read that already, and Jeremy said the bill is brief and non-controversial, expressing confidence it will receive support from all sides of the House. Let me tell you something. Jamaica, who is much bigger than us, the population much bigger than us, and the crime was in a state where it was really, really bad, worse than us. They came up with something called Zone of Special Operation, ZOSO. That's the acronym. In Jamaica, it is targeted temporary. It is a targeted temporary area declared for enhanced security and community development to combat rampant crime, gang violence, and lawlessness, including joint police and military operation, but also crucial social programs like infrastructure, jobs, and human development to build long-term peace, balancing security with human rights. You hear what it says here? In Jamaica, they implemented a zone of special operation where they targeted certain communities, temporary measures, and they enhanced the security there, developing a system to treat with crime, gang violence, and all that. It involved the police in joint security measures with military operation, but also crucial was social programs like infrastructure and jobs. What infrastructure and jobs we're going to give? They fire 10,500 people. CPEP workers, mostly from the East-West Corridor, URP workers, reforestation workers, contracted workers. And you know, once they say and they're targeting areas, you know they come in East-West Corridor. And I could tell only why I'm saying that. And in Jamaica, it involved, along with the operation, developing social programs to treat with jobs and infrastructure, human development, and balancing security with human rights. How it works, the Prime Minister declares the SZOZO, Zone of Special Operation, right? The Prime Minister of Jamaica developed that and advised the Police Commissioner and the Chief of Defense Staff in areas with extreme crime, security focus, deploy security forces to control hotspots, displace criminals, and maintain order using intelligence-led tactics. Community focus simultaneously implement social and economic programs, that is job training, youth programs, infrastructure to address root causes of crime. So they're not only going in these targeted areas with police and army, they're looking at the root cause of the people who are being lawless in those communities and what it is to build human capacity, to train the people, put infrastructure and social programs that they will not have a tendency to get themselves involved in crime. So it is twofold in Jamaica. Me here is saying not this way in Trinidad. And again, it's to disrupt crime or temporarily occupy areas, temporarily to break criminal networks, to build trust through a commitment to residents through development, not just enforcement, that's in Jamaica, right? So they want to introduce that in Trinidad. And here I have a challenge. In 2011, when this same UNC, whether it was PP or what, there was UNC under Kamna Prasad Bissessa and Attorney General Alan Ramlogan, they had a SOE. And they targeted certain areas alone. And we would say it is PNM areas mostly in their mind, once you're black, is a PNM. Mostly populated by people of African descent. That is where they had the SOE. And these are the things that happen through in that SOE. I'm bringing it back to all you.
What are they touching me? They're not touching me. I want them to know, don't give the fellas on them on Nelson Street no frame case. We fed up. That's all I want them to do. You think I'm going on with the Ireland? Because you're a Christian. You know why? Because I know how you beat up my son and I don't forget to know. I forget you know. So Ian, we're looking at V4. You go at the hospital. Hey. That's all. Something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right. Something is not right. Something is right. Something is right. Something is not right. Come on, come on.
Well, that's what that was limited state of emergency. This zone of special operation is a SOE. And they're going into the areas that they say because they face a crime in Trinidad and Tobago, because they face a black man, nobody else don't commit crime. It's the urban youths alone, where what was a code word for the Negroes, African youths. Them alone does commit crime. No other race don't commit crime in this country. Always have statistics to show that it's not only African people that commit crime or we African trainers commit crime. Do we have a problem in the African community? Of course we do. Other communities have the challenges the same, but them don't talk and say nothing. They keep it low as a group and a family and they treat whoever it is. When we community, you know, we like to talk and tell everybody, oh, my son get in trouble and and whatever. That's just always we just stop. We don't keep in nothing to get we sick, right? Well, most of it. So, you know, the face of crime is that of the black man or the black woman. And which part the black man and the black woman live? East West Corridor. Remember the pundit say? Urban use of East West Corridor targeted Indians in Aranguez and environs, although there's no data from the police or no way to show that. Remember the FUL? They went again and looked at laws from another country that's bigger, much bigger than we own, that have been real challenged SU and they bring it here. Now they go into our next country, with population bigger than we own, the crime bigger than we own, to introduce something that in Jamaica is not only about enforcement, it's about building capacity, it's about the human side of things, also development and social aspect. Are they going to do that? Or are we going to see what happened in 2011 that they're swooping into the crime spot area and just pick up everybody just so, lock them up, people bawling, say, we're lucky if we now come from hospital, and that Ian and had to say something and looking right. That happened under Kamala Prasad Bisasa, so they come in now with another limited state of emergency, but they can't call it SOE, so they come in and call it a different name. Look at what happened again. This is the outcome of that SOE.
Persons who were the first persons incidentally to be arrested under the anti-gang legislation.
Former Prime Minister and Attorney at Law Basil Pandey showed up to lend support to the men.
Why were they charged? They were charged, to me, as an excuse to hold them.
The men, held for the past 3 weeks at the so-called Guantanamo Bay section of the Aruca jail, were simply thankful that they were no longer subjected to the treatment meted out at the facility.
This party was, tell them as it is graphic as you could. Worse conditions, you can't sleep, one bath a day, you're sleeping, you have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and bathe, they give you some minutes, then they want to beat you.
Now that they are out, Gocking and several of the other former detainees say they plan to keep well away from the authorities for fear that they may be given other cases. Gocking says the men have suffered enough and have made a special appeal for society not to stereotype them.
I is no gang member, I related to no gang, I never had no shooting case, I never been charged for no robbery, nothing. And all the people who looking to discriminate me, I just say I leave it up to God.
Lawyers for the 21 men, however, are planning to have the courts deal with the matter. According to them, several of their clients lost sources of income and property because of charges laid against them. They are currently exploring their clients' legal options. Natalie Briggs, TV6 News.
I remember that. They said I was to pay money because police get, it is alleged, police get instruction to lock them up. They were finding the chargement after. And they want to come with a what now? Zone of special operation, where's Brevia SOE. And they're going to target areas. Who is the target areas they're going to target? They're going to target Beaton. They're going to target Sila. They're going to target Mova. They're going to target Lavantil. They're going to target Bataria. They're going to target San Juan. They're going to target the East-West corridor because in their mind and some people's mind, it's only East-West corridor people and children and family committing crime. Nobody of Indian descent across the Caroni Bridge don't commit crime. The jail don't have no Indian people. The jail only have African people because we into crime. As Dr. David Mohammed had written, he said the face of crime became the black face because back in the day when the black man was selling drugs for the drug laws and them who wasn't of African descent, them was the face selling it. And when time police come and raid and whatever, the African man who that's selling the drugs for the not of we race person, them had money is not me say so. Go and look at what Dr. David Mohammed said. He's an intellectual, a historian, a psychologist, I'm not me didn't say so. He said them used to be able to pay the judges and pay the judicial officers and pay the police and pay this one and that one. So them wasn't making the jail. So who was making the jail is the face, the African man. And we become the one in jail. I just saying, based on all that inequity, because if they're now finding the humanity, after they sit down as a caucus, in my opinion, and come up with this traffic law to make money and jam everybody hard, so I don't know if they feel it's only PNM people that suffer, but the own people, the old Indian people who support them, coming out and talking and saying the wicked and all that, they now find humanity, but they ain't dropping the prices, you know. They're just going to something mandatory warning first. Why would they then do all that in front? That same government who want to bring back a next emergency, limited state of emergency, because they cannot go back to the parliament for a state of emergency, they bring it under a different name. And they're going to target the hotspot areas. Who you think they're going to target? 10,500 CPEP workers they send home, men and women, some of them single mothers, some of them single fathers, some of them nuclear family fighting to make. Where them getting money to skip out their children and send their children to school and all that? Is it all they wanted crime to really increase? Because when a mother see she trying crying and hungry and it had nothing, a mother might be tempted to go and thief to feed she trying, not because she's a thief, but circumstances because mommy ain't walking neither, mommy get fired, or the tired get she, or mom, whatever the case may be, and nobody there. She ain't her man, she ain't her uncle, she ain't have nobody. Or she man, they with whoever, sufferation and she watching him. Because she hungry, the children hungry, and watching you go and do, you know, that's frustrating to some people that could send people to the work and I think, look at the man who he and his wife, they get fired from reforestation. The man kill himself. The man kill himself. If that had happened under Dr. Rowley, oh God, you'd hear that talk all over. The things all they do to Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, summer Rowley. Unfair games will come back and play and all. They got to call that man name and say, oh God, Dr. Rowley, come back. Oh God, Stuart Young, come back. Oh God, PNM, come back. Wait. People go hold their head and ball, bang the belly and tight, so gas in the backside when they pull it so. It's only air coming out because they're hungry. Nothing to eat, the children hungry. In them circumstances, it says real talk. Ask any psychologist or ask any counselor, psychiatrist. In them circumstances, child abuse does increase, domestic abuse does increase, people harming themselves does increase, crime does increase. All kind of things does increase because when you have money, it's not easy to lie down hungry on your belly all night growling, you know. Or your children sucking their finger and they're telling you they're hungry, you know, mommy, I'm hungry. It's easy, you know, and only take away that from 10,500 CPAP workers and say how they think corruption, but and how the PNM want to make people grass cutters in this country, but only went back and take 200 people and make them the same grass cutters in this country. Only take 200 people, only fire 10,000 and say how it's corruption and all the PNM want them to be grass cutters and PNM this and PNM that and only hire back 200 people and they're cutting grass still. All it says the contract will corrupt all that. The contractors was not paying the workers. Only kind of deal with the contractors and leave the workers to work because it was the CPAP company paying them. The CPAP company was the employer. What they fire them workers for? And I want to talk about Dr. Rowley, a PNM government would never put so much people on a red line. Never. Let me continue. They're only looking at ground crime. They're looking at crime where people have commit robbery. No, I ain't saying they shouldn't look at those things because all those things are crimes. Robbery and shooting and wounding and murder, they're watching at all them things. Nothing wrong in that. Nothing wrong in that. What about the white collar crime? Whereby the stroke of a pen, 10,500 CPAP workers going on. That is not a crime. That is not a crime. By the stroke of a pen, how much 1,000 European workers going home? How much contracted workers going home? How much workers from companies going home by the stroke of a pen? Only watching white collar crime. And what is white collar crime? White collar crime is a broad term for non-violent, financially motivated offenses committed by individuals or organizations in business or government involving deceit, breach of trust, or fraud for personal or corporate gain, such as embezzlement, insider trading, bribery, and various fraud, security, healthcare, mortgage, all them crimes involved in that. These crimes, though not physically violent, can cause massive financial devastation and erode public trust, often exploiting professional position. The primary goal is monetary gain. Deception and trust relies on concealment, manipulation, abuse of trusted positions. And it goes on and on, bribery and corruption, influencing decision with something of value, money laundering, concealing illegal money origin, all them things. White collar crime, you don't hear nobody talking about that. That is just as dangerous as the street crime, as the robbing, as the gun crime, as the abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse. But they don't talk about that, they're studying. No, me and say the police or the law should not try to deal with no street crime. I'm not saying that, but let it be equity. Look at other crime too, because those crimes destroying a whole society too, a whole nation too. All I want to hear why I'm saying that, listen to this.
In my whole 40 or 50 or 60 years, I had never heard so much corruption in one little island as I've heard in this country over the last debate. I can't understand why we have no more jail doors in this academy. There has been too much corruption. And all these people corruption you and I are paying for today because the country is not in a position to deal as they ought to deal with us in the present condition. People are stealing money as if they invented it. As if it's their right to thief.
Yeah? The thief Makanda Daga said that the thief and money as if they have a right to thief. You have never seen so much thief in any life. That is why you call a crime. Oh, nobody ain't talking about that. Only studying the fella in Ravantel and Bitam and Silat and Arima and Mova. Only focus on that. And the woman who gone in the store to shoplift because now she walking nowhere and she turn hungry and she's afraid she know what to do next. Again, I am not condoning those things, but I'm talking the talk. Don't look at one kind of crime alone. Look at incest. Look at domestic violence in the Indian community, where it does end up the man that chop up the woman and sometimes take his life. All them things is crime. Look at child abuse in the Indian community. You can look in the African and all the other communities too. I don't have a problem with that. But don't just focus on the other crime when only helping to create a situation for that kind of crime to increase. Look at white collar crime. Human trafficking, a next crime. Human trafficking has severe and lasting physical, psychological, and social effects on its victims, as well as broader impacts on family, communities, and the rule of law. The consequences for survivors are profound and can be lifelong, varying based on the type of trafficking and duration of exploitation. Injuries and chronic pain. Victims often suffer from bruises, scars, broken bones, and internal injury due to physical violence and torture. There's a high risk of contracting sexually transmitted infections, STIs, including HIV and AIDS, as well as urinary infections and other serious illnesses due to abuse and lack of medical care. Reproduction health issues, unwanted pregnancies, complications from botched abortions, infertility, and traumatic fistulae are common, especially in sex trafficking victims. Victims are often experience exhaustion, dental problems, and stunted growth in children due to inadequate nutrition and poor living conditions. Individuals in forced labor may suffer from respiratory problems, chemical burns, or musculoskeletal injuries from dangerous and strenuous work environment. Psychological trauma survivors frequently experience severe mental health issues, including post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and complex PTSD, depression, anxiety, phobia, and panic attacks. Memory loss, difficulty concentrating, and disassociation from reality, a common coping mechanism that can have long-term effects on brain development, especially in children. Victims often struggle with feeling of shame, guilt, self-blame, helplessness, fear, and a loss of self-worth and dignity. And it goes on, 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 it goes on, and on. It goes on, and on, and on. That is a crime too. Listen to this, not me say.
And pay attention to the message. And the population will continue to get the kind of leadership that they like. They like the move along and talk, and Kamala is queen, and guys with queen, and she's royal, and this kind of nonsense. And it will be business as usual to the United National Congress.
Yeah. So
5 more years of opposition for them, that's all.
Is it then that one of the next steps also is for you to hand over additional information to the police?
I hand over all I have in my memory at this point in time. I'm available for any further clarification that they require. But I only got involved in this when I saw the hypocrisy during the debate in Parliament on the CIA report on human trafficking, when the UNC had the temerity to get up to talk about it and to cast aspersions when persons harbored on their own life and their own political party are actively and aggressively engaged in this over the years, which I am aware of.
Dr. Devan Paraj, thank you very much for speaking with us this morning.
Yeah, that is a crime too, not me say. I don't be saying them things. I might have an opinion, but I don't be saying them things. That is a crime too, so I hope when they launch the zone of special operation, that is not just the East-West corridor where the urban youth live in. I hope it go in other areas where other people live in, because all crime is all over. Crime is not in just one area. Crime is not just one area. And again, I am not endorsing crime. I am not saying that our government is wrong to trying to find solutions to treat with crime. I am not against the police doing lawful work to treat with crime. I don't have a problem with them thing. My thing I saying is this: don't just have it one side unbalanced, as it's only African people that commit crime in this country, and the only crime that's committed in this country is the street crime and the crime of grabbing bag and the gun violence and the shooting and the wounding and the killing. That is not the only crime that has happened in this country. Let me deal with all crime so that it's equitable, that it's equal, and justice will be seen for all and not for some. The courthouse is for all, not for some. The jail is for all, not for some. Once you commit the crime, but don't just look at them kind of crime. Look at human trafficking. Look at white collar crime. Then we can have confidence and say, oh, no, once you commit a crime, that you will get home, no matter your color, your status, where you live, your profession. Once you commit the crime and you are held and arrested and they have the evidence, you take it to court and the court has declared that you're guilty. Excuse me. That they pay the price. Because I start coughing, I walk with no water. I just want to thank everybody for saying lockdown and tune in till We Talk D Ting Unfiltered. I'll try my best to be back on Friday, God's spare. Let us be real. This government came in, they got a mandate 26. Excuse me, seats. They got a beautiful mandate. And in the 8 or 9 months they've been there, they've turned this whole country upside down, and not for the right reasons. Let us be real. When you're making laws and legislation, it's not just for some to disenfranchise some. Law should be made that it could help and develop and treat with crime, or whatever the issue is. Excuse me. They came in and they said, the PNM government, they sold that to everybody that they influencers. Yellow is the code. Wrongly wicked and bad. PNM wicked and bad. Ember bad. He say he raised gas. 3 times or whatever, nobody riot yet. Them increase gas. I hear nobody say nothing, and they increase the tax offenses. Double. Or they had a problem with the merit points. I didn't know much about it, but I hear people saying today the demerit points was much better. It had reached a point where the Minister of Finance, I think it was, or no, Minister of Works and Transport had come out and give certain leeway and whatever the case may be to treat what the issue was having. They were lenient and all that. Or they still cost the PNM. Or they said wicked and bad. The PNM government was balancing the economy. They always said that they don't have much money, and if we don't get gas and find another source of gas, we will be in some real trouble. And they work hard and diligently via Mr. Stuart Young, MP Stuart Young, SC, negotiated, one of the best negotiators it have, because he was invited as a keynote speaker to speak to international negotiators from all over the world. He was also a speaker at the Energy Conference also in Guyana. So he's known all over the world as a negotiator. Negotiators and leaders, listen, that is a talent, that is a technique, that is an ability not everybody have. And in the oil sector, everybody know. I'm sure them oil giants who President Trump sit down and talk with them know Stuart Young. I sure they know, because he used to go out and meet with BP out there in Texas and Houston and Hague and all them oil company and giants that was sitting on with President Trump. I sure they know Stuart Young SC name. And Dr. Rowley gave him the work to do. And he put his head down and he did the work. And brought results. People didn't like it. They didn't buy it. They didn't like Dr. Raleigh, or Dr. Raleigh put here, although Dr. Raleigh used the Constitution. Although there was a vote, and people vote more for he than they vote for Penny. They ain't like that. Jennifer Baptiste Primus and Lee Hunt come on and get out a particular way, and Stuart Young, and they start about 1%, and the PNM is a black party. Not directly she and Lee Hunt. But then they talk black party and Stuart Young 1%. All kind of shit they start to talk as though PNM was ever a black party. Yes, the majority of people of African descent supported the PNM. That is not an unknown fact. But it was never formed to be a black party. The Charter of the People's National Movement tell you anybody could be a member of the PNM. Yeah? Any creed and race could be a member of the PNM, but only come out and do all them things and only give the UNC the opportunity and people to sing the song. The always the code. With the social media officer, or they fight on Dominic Romain. I say it because I was like Dominic self-appointed manager back in the internal election 4 years ago, whatever it is. I put my whole self in it and was promoting Dominic, call it fight on Dominic, and put a fella there who wasn't doing one shit. And when they come back and do the same thing again. Where's the social media officer? Where's the PRO? Nothing. And then on top of that, they have a political leader who unremarkable. I saying so. I, Jennifer Frederick, saying so. That's my opinion. Nobody has to agree with me. But I see all the thing going. And if it's truthful with the blasted self, I know my limitations. I know I'm not a mathematician. You give me maths to do, I will sit around with a whole day and start to cuss. Because me I'm no maths person. Me I'm pushing up myself in them thing. I know little basic maths thing. Because that 2 and 2, 4 and 4 and them kind of thing. When I come to all them with that back and I say my thing, yes, and this and that, me ain't got it. Me ain't pushing up myself. You have to know your limitation. And in my opinion, the political leader of the People's National Movement are saying it right here. Let them make video and cost me. Every time they cost me and call my name, my blessing will increase. Oh, go no, Sean. Shango, all my ancestors, God on them. Who they worship in truth and honesty. You think the God is just for all you alone? You think it's just for all you alone? It's all away. I don't do nobody nothing. I don't just talk my talk based on information and evidence. My African ancestors and them worship a particular way. I was taught to worship a next way because you know, the thing went in enslavement and all that. But I'm not afraid of my African ancestors and the way that they worship. Me not afraid of that. Because that's a part of my history. So if you feel as, oh, they God alone, excuse me. Yeah? Most of they can do is make video and cost me. Cost me for what? For saying what everybody else saying, and it's not me causing people to say them things. People saying she's weak politically. A very nice woman. Very nice woman. You talk to her comfortable, but that is not what is needed now. We need somebody politically skilled, versed in the art of politics to treat with a UNC, you know. And you, as a leader, when you watch the people you lead, it has determined what kind of leader he is. And right now, you have 12 strong people, 11 strong, and you have them looking weak too, because you weak. They ain't getting no juice, no energy, no oxygen from you. So everything just deflated and people feeling hopeless because they know the only party to take away all the morass and chaos we in. Rodney Charles says so on a UNC platform, in a UNC jersey, is the People's National Movement. Where's the People's National Movement? Where's the party? Where's the party? Where's the People's National Movement for the people, not just some people, not just black people, all people? Where's the vibrancy? Where's the fight? Going around and apologizing on this apology tour, you going all over and apologize. It's making you look and sound more weak. There's a way to say, and I say, you're not politically wise. There's a way to say that don't make you sound weak. And every time you get on a stage and you talk about, I apologize and I'm sorry, and Dr. Rowley, it's worse, they're making it worse. If guys you want to feel along back by body, well, we sorry because Dr. Rowley said talk hard. Dr. Rowley had to talk hard for a particular reason from Tobago, like number one, I saw them as separate, the kind of roughish and thing. But he was in a timing in this country, 2015, it had no time for games and no smiling and grinning and thing. He met a recession and coming out of a recession now, COVID-19, a pandemic that hit the world that didn't hit it before in 150 years. He had no time to skin and grin with nobody. He didn't have time to fix no road. What they're talking about, all the effort was on saving lives, and we lost some lives. Yes, we did. But when you look in comparison to other countries, we did well till the World Health Organization praised this government. The PNM government are talking about, excuse me, for using data and information to keep the citizens safe when it had no vaccine. All you can say, well, they wanted the vaccine, this and that, all they cannot deny that Trinidad and Tobago, because of Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley and his government, the Dr. Parastram, the CMO, and all the medical staff in this country at all levels, they kept us alive with God cared also. He had that to deal with, all he wanted to skin and grin. Skin and grin for what? He was needed for those times. So don't apologize because Dr. Rowley was rough. Look at the conditions he had to rule the country in. He didn't come in and make things nice. Stop apologizing for Dr. Rowley. You play your part now. Dr. Rowley done gone. Anyway, people, I love you all. See you all on Friday, God's Spirit. I'm going to just call some names here quickly because I like to acknowledge people. P.T., Vernie, Ann. Let's see who I get just now. Julie, Pearl, Patty, I think it's Patty, Roslyn, Wayne, Mr. Gibson. Who again? And all those who are locked on to Bounce Up Central, thank you for the support. And I have my stationary list here of people from Facebook, whether they own or not. I know that they are giving support. And once I see other names that I don't have to pay out, I don't. So I go to Margaret. You see, I start a call for accounting and no start around. Davison, Yvette, Angela Lacroix, Rodriguez, Lacroix, Ginger, Lorna, Ortiz Manette, Ortega Manette, Sarah Richardson, Emmeline Harvey, Christopher Coffey, Erica Richardson, Keith Marshall, Charles Crease, and the whole family from Puna, and Shepherd, Ophelia Boyce, Andrew Horton, Alison Boyce, Helen Russell from Pleasantville, Roxanne Kingman, one of my doodles, Miss Melka, Bolty, Hadara, Ruthven, Dr. Lloyd Straker, Lucy Brown, Cheryl Seeley, Alison Phillip, Governor Lazar, Francia Pancho, E.A. Shorty, Bernadette Andel Jocelyn, Augustus Cato, Victoria Pensawa, and she friend who are meeting Yips, I ain't get her name, I don't remember at all. Christopher McDonald Bando, Katia Raymond Felician, Elise Alexander, happy birthday, belated birthday, Elise Alexander, and all those who are celebrating birthdays this month. Happy, strong to you all, much life, much health. Joyce Neves, Margaret Thomas, Angela Sobers, Denise Reed, Kim Thomas Farrell, the sexy Rasoman, I think it's Marva meeting Tong. Hello, not easy. Rosalind Nogis, Diamond Trini Jewel, Blackberries, Myrtle Joseph, Tessa Graham, Cynthia Jackson, Denise Cummins, Camille Dean, Mary DeHare, Kevin, Mr. Nelson, the whole French from Puna, and all those who are locked on. So, We Talk D Ting. Thank you all so much. See you all on Friday. God's Spirit. Much love. Just truth I get to know. I don't know everything. I know some things. I am perfect, striving for perfection. But I think sometimes perfection boring and things. I'm not in the habit of lying on people. I'm in the habit of talking plain. Some people say I have no tact, but it's quite okay. I prefer not to have no tact than to be lying and deceitful to people. I can't be that. I can't do it. Some people could do it me about that. Right? Love you all. See you all on Friday. Hope you all enjoy this.
People used to say, if your eye too long, trouble will befall you, bound to befall you. And when you're living in good house, sometimes just a bad house just come and call you, crawl out and call you. It's not to say you must settle for the mediocre, or you must take a lash from man when that drunk or sober. But sometimes women leave them and say they're going for better, and the new one they embrace turn out to be a monster. Careful what you ask for, careful what you wish for. Better keep your bird in hand and pursue your heart's desire, or you will leap from the frying pan straight into the fire. What you cry for, what you prepare to die for. They say better the devil that you have than the one you do not know. Before you end up on the floor, squash up like a mosquito. Careful what you ask for, careful what you wish for. So why you upset? You ask for it, hey, well take what you get. Viewing the news the other day, thought I was watching the young and restless, so young and restless. This tiny little Indian girl leaves she child father who she swear was worthless, idle and worthless. Moving with a younger man also from Guyana, hit she more back than someone when she feed him Shana. The same young boy that she craved thought would take she further. Oh, he put she baby in a grave, now she born in murder. Careful what you ask for, wish I could have won she. Careful what you wish for. The same man who made she heart beat fast, who she called she baby doll, beat she worse than 10 Judas, then bashing she baby skull. Careful what you pray for, oh, might be what you get slave for. They say better the devil that you have than the one you do not know. Before you end up on a slab with a white tag on your toe. Careful what you ask for, careful what you wish for. So why you upset? You ask for it, then take what you get. The other day, and for the winds of change, we stain with finger, dirty with finger. But how quickly things decay, now I know that strange begins to linger, over and linger. A man get question on Islam on a radio station, then just so get fire branded for discrimination. They say Saruj brewing hell between Hindu and Muslim. But if you're seeing Shanish men, like what you run and tell him, careful You thought people was the best in town, so it's them you did promote. But now they're stifling expression, look how they cut off as it throw. Careful what you fight for, the things you unite for. They say better the devil that you have than the one you do not know. Now they have portrayed that ends like Mumbai and Lahore. Careful what you ask for, oh, careful what you wish for. So why you upset? You ask for it. Hey, then take what you get. You get, you get, you get, you get, you get. I was in town the other day, saw a massive march put on by Labour, United Labour. They knock iron, they jump and sway. It was a grand display of no behavior, no damn behavior. Now this government have folks from the Labour movement, but it's different party, but same strokes, little improvement. And while from this drama, Labour leaders buckling, a dream man in the pyjama in a corner chuckling. Careful what you ask for, Comrade McLeod. Careful what you wish for. You didn't like the burning hand, wanted your heart's desire. You jumped from the frying pan, well now enjoy the fire. What you strive for, all the things you connive for. They say better the devil that you have than the one you do not know. Before you start to scrunt and start calling mommy, if I didn't know, careful what you ask for, careful what you wish for. So why you upset? You ask for it. Hey, well take what you get, you get, you get. Take your 1% and chill. What you ask for. Take your 5% and chill. What you wish for. Take your bonds, no cash and chill. What you ask for. Take your bonds, no cash and chill. What you wish for. Take your 5% and chill. Careful what you ask for. Take your 1% and chill. Careful what you wish for.
I want to sing chorus. Take your 1% and chill.
Careful what you ask for. Careful out there, people. Careful what you ask for.